Teode. At my birthday, my mom mocked. I have 2 daughters. One is a director. The other one? So I bought the company and said, actually, she's not. 4. Present. The irony of her career. After graduating, Chelsea spent 6 years at Morrison & Associates, working 18-hour days, learning everything about distressed assets and turnarounds. At 28, she joined Grace Palmer at Lighthouse Capital as a junior partner. Now she runs the firm. In 8 years, she's rescued 23 family businesses, helping other families stay whole while her own fell apart. She has a small group of close friends from business school, dates occasionally but keeps everyone at arm's length. Trust doesn't come easily when your own mother couldn't be bothered to learn your worth. Additional scene. Grace calls with final confirmation. Deal closes at midnight. The board resignations are already signed. They were eager to exit a sinking ship. You'll have full control by morning. Chelsea looks at the acquisition file. Harman & Associates. Her sister's company. I'll be at a family dinner when it closes. Fitting, I suppose. Cliffhanger. Chelsea enters her childhood home. The hallway wall displays 3 decades of family photos. She finds the last one that includes her, age 18, the day before she left. After that frame, Chelsea Little simply stopped existing in her family's visual history. Somewhere in this house, her mother is preparing to celebrate Rebecca's success. And somewhere in Chelsea's bag is a document that will change everything. Part 2. Rising Action. The toast that broke 26 years of silence. Objective. Escalate conflict to breaking point. Reveal twist Hassone, Rebecca's lie about promotion. Establish Chelsea's moral justification. Show the failed private approach. Timeline context. The family gathering, evening, approximately 30 guests, interwoven with flashbacks to the past 6 months. Key points to develop. 1. The dinner where Chelsea is furniture. Linda parades Rebecca before every guest. My daughter, the coup. She's practically running the company now. When someone asks about Chelsea, Linda weaves dismissively. Oh, she does something with numbers. Accounting, I think. Chelsea has rescued 23 companies. Her mother thinks she's a bookkeeper. The irony would be funny if it didn't still sting after all these years. 2. Flashback. 6 months ago, the discovery. Chelsea's team flagged a distressed company seeking emergency investors, Harman & Associates. She recognized the name immediately. Linda's family had invested in it years ago. Digging into the files, Chelsea discovered the company was hemorrhaging cash, had lost major clients, and was perhaps 18 months from bankruptcy. More alarming. A personal guarantee document showed that Robert Little had pledged the family home as collateral for a company loan. The signature was genuine. But when Chelsea cross-referenced dates, she found Robert had been told he was signing updated paperwork for the home equity line, Linda's words. According to a recorded phone call the company's lawyer had kept on file. 3. Flashback. 3 months ago, the rejected approach. Chelsea called Rebecca directly. We need to talk about Harman. I can help. Rebecca's response was ice. Stay out of our business. You left this family. You don't get to come back now and play savior. Chelsea offered to send information anonymously, to help without anyone knowing. Rebecca hung up. 2 weeks later, Chelsea made her decision. If Rebecca wouldn't accept help through the front door, Chelsea would come through the back as the new owner. Thumbnail text. 4. Present. Rebecca's announcement twist Hassone. Rebecca stands, glass raised. I have wonderful news. I've been promoted to Senior Vice President of Operations. Linda weeps with pride. The room applauds. But Chelsea knows the truth. She's read the board minutes. The company froze all promotions and raises 4 months ago due to cash flow crisis. There is no SVP position. Rebecca is lying, and 6 months ago she told Chelsea to stay away. Now Chelsea understands why. Rebecca knew the company was dying and didn't want Chelsea anywhere near the truth. 5. The public humiliation, the trigger. Linda raises her glass. I'm so blessed. I have 2 daughters. One is a senior vice president at a major company. The other one. She pauses, glances at Chelsea with a condescending smile. Well, she's here too. The room laughs. Chelsea has heard variations of this joke for 20 years. She always smiled along. But tonight, knowing what she knows about the guarantee, about Rebecca's lies, about the rejected phone call, something finally breaks. Not dramatically, quietly, like a bone that's been fractured for years finally giving way. Cliffhanger. Linda raises her glass for another toast to Rebecca's success. Chelsea's phone buzzes silently. A text from Grace. Done. It's yours. Midnight is past. The deal is closed. Chelsea looks at her mother, still basking in Rebecca's reflected glory. She had planned to stay silent tonight, to handle everything through lawyers next week. But 26 years of invisibility are pressing against her chest, and for the first time she doesn't want to swallow them down. Part 3, Climax. Actually, she's not. Objective. Maximum emotional impact. Reveal twist hash 2, Chelsea bought and saved the company, and twist hash 3, Linda's deception of Robert. Reverse power dynamics. Tone. Controlled, cold, devastating. Timeline context. The climax of the family gathering. 15 minutes that reshape everything. Key points to develop. 1. The moment of decision. A cousin asks Chelsea directly, "So what do you actually do?" Linda says you're in accounting? Before Chelsea can respond, Linda cuts in. She works at some small firm downtown, nothing worth discussing. Chelsea looks at her mother, looks at Rebecca, who is avoiding her eyes. Thinks about the phone call 3 months ago. Stay out of our business. Thinks about the guarantee document with her father's forged understanding. Thinks about 26 years of being erased. And makes a choice she hadn't planned to make tonight. 2. The 3 words. Chelsea's voice is calm. Actually, Mom, Rebecca isn't a senior vice president. The laughter dies. In fact, there is no SVP position. The company froze all promotions 4 months ago. Rebecca knows this. Rebecca's face drains of colour. What are you? Chelsea continues. And as of midnight tonight, Rebecca's position at Harman & Associates is under review. Because I'm now the majority shareholder. 3. Twist hash 2. The acquisition and the rescue. The room erupts in murmurs. Chelsea shows the acquisition confirmation on her phone. The company was 14 months from bankruptcy. I restructured the debt, negotiated with creditors, and preserved 40 of 45 jobs. I didn't buy it to destroy it. She looks at Rebecca. 3 months ago I called you. I offered to help. You told me to stay out of your business? So I found another way in. At my birthday, my mom mocked. I have 2 daughters. One is a director. The other one? Everyone raised their glasses. I smiled. They had no idea I had already bought her company yesterday. Then I said calmly, "Actually, she's not." Everyone went pale. Even my mother dropped her fork. 4. Twist hash 3. The mortgage deception exposed. Chelsea turns to her father, and her voice softens slightly. "Dad, do you remember signing loan paperwork last year?" Mom said it was routine updating the home equity line. Robert nods slowly, confused. That wasn't a home equity update. It was a personal guarantee for a $2 million company loan. If Harman had defaulted, the bank would have taken the house. Mom knew. She told you it was something else so you wouldn't ask questions. 5. The fracture varied reactions. Robert turns to Linda, his face grey. Is this true? Linda's wine glass slips and shatters on the hardwood. An aunt murmurs. There must be some explanation. A family friend stands awkwardly. Perhaps we should give you some privacy. Rebecca doesn't cry or scream. She stands frozen for a long moment, then says bitterly, "You always had to be the martyr, didn't you?" and walks out, slamming the door. Half the guests begin gathering their things. Linda tries to regain control. "This is a family matter," Chelsea stands. "No, Mom, this is my birthday. And for the first time in my life, I'm not going to make myself smaller so you can pretend I don't exist." Cliffhanger. Chelsea walks into the cool November air. Her hands are shaking, not from anger, but from the release of something she's carried for 26 years. She hadn't planned to do it this way. But some silences, once broken, can't be taken back. And in the company archives she now owns, and there's still a document she hasn't fully investigated a board meeting from 5 years ago that she suspects will change everything she thought she understood about her sister. Part 4, Falling Action. The betrayal that started 5 years ago. Objective. Deliver real consequences for all antagonists. Reveal twist hash 4, father's secret support, and twist hash 5, Rebecca's 5-year cover-up. Add psychological depth, both sisters are victims, but only one chose cruelty. Timeline context. 2 to 8 weeks after the family gathering. Multiple scenes showing aftermath. Key points to develop. 1. Week 1. Rebecca's fall from the pedestal. Chelsea meets with Rebecca at the office now. Chelsea's office. She offers a choice. Entry-level project coordinator. No management responsibilities. Prove yourself through work, not connections. If your performance is strong after 12 months, we can discuss advancement. Rebecca laughs bitterly. You're enjoying this. Chelsea's response is flat. I'm not. But I'm also not going to pretend you earned what you had. This is the first fair chance you've ever gotten. Take it or don't. Rebecca takes it. She has nowhere else to go. Within days, she experiences what Chelsea lived for 26 years. Being overlooked in meetings, being dismissed by colleagues who once competed for her approval, being no one special. 2. Week 2. Twist hash 4. The father's confession. Robert comes to Chelsea's apartment, their first private conversation in 17 years. His hands tremble as he speaks. Those envelopes you received in college. The ones with no return address. That was me. Chelsea can't breathe. He explains. He'd saved money from side work. Sent it through a friend's P.O. box, so Linda wouldn't know. I tried to call you twice after you graduated. Both times you hung up. I understood. I'd been too weak to protect you. Why would you trust me? Chelsea remembers those calls on known numbers she'd ignored, assuming they were telemarketers or, worse, her mother. I was a coward, Robert continues. I couldn't stand up to your mother, but I couldn't watch you drown either. Chelsea feels rage and grief tangled together. He's not asking for forgiveness, just acknowledgement. She gives him that much. I wish you'd told me sooner. It's not absolution, but it's a start. 3. Week 3. Twist hash 5. The 5-year betrayal. Chelsea finally reviews the archived board documents from her acquisition. One meeting record from 5 years ago stops her cold. Proposal to engage Lighthouse Capital for restructuring consultation rejected. Motion by R. Little, seconded by T. Morrison. Reason cited. Potential conflict of interest due to family connection. Vote 4-1 against. Chelsea stares at the screen. Rebecca didn't just know about Lighthouse. Par une exposition. The daughter who disappeared from the family photos. Objective. Build deep empathy for Chelsea. Plant 4 foreshadowing elements. Establish her hidden success and the pattern of family invisibility. Timeline context. Present day, morning of the family gathering. Chelsea prepares to attend, interwoven with flashbacks. Key points to develop. She actively convinced the board to reject Chelsea's firm. She'd known for 5 years that her sister had built something successful and she buried it, ensuring Linda would never find out. 4. Week 4. The confrontation. Rebecca comes to Chelsea's office, ready to deliver a rehearsed explanation about the pressure of being the favourite. Chelsea cuts her off. I read the board minutes from 5 years ago, the Lighthouse proposal. Rebecca goes still. You knew. You knew about my company, knew we could have helped, and you convinced the board to say no. Then you made sure Mum never found out I was successful. Why? Rebecca's voice cracks, but she doesn't cry. If she found out you'd built something real, if she knew you'd made it without her, I would have been nothing. You got to leave. You got to be free. I had to stay and be perfect every single day, and still it was never enough. I couldn't let you take the one thing I had. Chelsea sees it clearly now. Rebecca isn't evil. She's a different kind of casualty, someone so desperate for Linda's conditional love that she sacrificed her own sister to keep it. Understanding isn't forgiveness, but it makes the anger less sharp. 5. Week 6-8. Consequences unfold. Robert hires a lawyer not for divorce, but for protection. He and Linda now have separate bank accounts. She cannot make financial decisions over $1,000 without his written consent. For Linda, this is devastating. Her husband no longer trusts her. Worse, the extended family knows the truth. The friends who admired her perfect family now whisper. She calls Chelsea repeatedly. Chelsea answers once. I'll talk when you're ready to take responsibility. Not explain, not justify. Take responsibility. Call me when you can do that. She hasn't called back yet. Cliffhanger. 2 months after the dinner, Chelsea receives a handwritten envelope. The return address is Rebecca's apartment. Inside is a single page, no greeting, no signature, just a paragraph that Chelsea reads 3 times before putting it in her desk drawer. Part 5, Resolution. Freedom doesn't look like revenge. Objective. Deliver emotionally satisfying closure without cheap reconciliation. Show Chelsea's empowerment through choices, not through others' validation. Complete all character arcs with realism. Timeline context. 6 months to 1 year after the gathering. Key points to develop. 1. Rebecca's letter. The letter was short. I've been trying to write an apology for 2 months. Everything sounds like an excuse. So here's the only thing I can say honestly. I spent 5 years keeping you invisible because I was terrified of becoming invisible myself. I told myself you didn't need Mum's approval, you'd already escaped. I didn't let myself think about what it cost you to escape, or what I was taking from you by hiding your success. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not sure I would. I just need you to know that I finally understand what I did, and I'm sorry I didn't have the courage to see it when it mattered. Chelsea doesn't respond, but she stops dreading interactions with Rebecca at the office. The anger isn't gone, but it's no longer the first thing she feels. 1. The text that says everything. Chelsea receives her mother's text. Family dinner Saturday. Rebecca has big news to share. Saturday is Chelsea's 36th birthday. Linda doesn't mention it. Chelsea checks and kiss and firms this and feels the familiar tood. And so she stopped expecting birthday wishes at 18. Disappointment requires hope, and she buried that long ago. 2. Chelsea's exit on her terms. After 9 months of stabilising Harman and Associates, Chelsea sells her stake to a reputable private equity firm. The sale agreement includes a 12-month employment guarantee for all current staff, including Rebecca, with retention based on documented performance metrics. Chelsea doesn't fight for more than that. Rebecca's future is Rebecca's responsibility now. With the profit from the sale, Chelsea establishes the Lighthouse Foundation. Scholarships for women rebuilding careers after family estrangement or financial betrayal. The first class. 12 recipients, 12 second chances. 3. The family reconfigured. Robert and Chelsea have lunch once a month. The conversations are awkward at first. 17 years of silence. Don't disappear overnight. But he shows up, every time, and that matters. He started standing up to Linda in small ways, disagreeing openly at family events, refusing to pretend Chelsea doesn't exist. It's not courage exactly. It's the slow, painful work of becoming the father he should have been. Linda still hasn't offered a real apology. She sent a card at Christmas, thinking of you but couldn't bring herself to acknowledge anything specific. Chelsea accepts that her mother may never change. Some people would rather lose a daughter than admit they were wrong. Chelsea's peace no longer depends on Linda's evolution. 4. The final scene. 1 year later, Chelsea stands at the Foundation's first scholarship ceremony, watching 12 women receive checks that will change their trajectories. Grace joins her, holding 2 glasses of champagne. 23 companies saved, 12 scholarships funded, and you started from an envelope with no name. Chelsea smiles, thinking of her father's hidden support, of Rebecca's fear, of her mother's blindness. Someone believed in me when I couldn't see my own worth. The least I can do is pass that forward. The family she was born into failed her in almost every way. But the family she's built, Grace, her business school friends, the women she's mentored, these scholarship recipients chose her. And that, finally, is enough. Closing line. The sweetest justice isn't satisfaction making them satisfaction regret what they did. It's building a life so full of meaning that their approval becomes irrelevant, and realizing, at last, that you were never as small as they made you feel. 2. Flashback. The origin of favoritism, age 10. When Rebecca was 7, she nearly died from a severe respiratory illness. For 3 weeks, Linda slept in the hospital. Chelsea stayed with neighbours. After Rebecca recovered, Linda's fear of losing her younger daughter calcified into obsessive favoritism. Chelsea understood it, then her mother was terrified. But 26 years later, Rebecca is perfectly healthy, and the favoritism has become something uglier. A family operating system where Chelsea simply doesn't register. 3. Flashback. The mysterious envelopes, age 18 to 22. The day Chelsea left for college, Linda didn't say goodbye. A week later, an unmarked envelope arrived at her dorm cache. No note, enough for tuition. Chelsea called the financial aid office. They had no record of it. She suspected a professor, maybe a church charity. The envelopes came every semester for 4 years. She never investigated further, partly because she desperately needed the money, partly because she was afraid to discover it came with strings attached. She had learned young that gifts in her family always did.